What's up, Wrestle Scope family? Before we dive into today's absolute chaos, I need you to hear me out, because what I'm about to reveal will shake your understanding of WWE to its very core. Right now, behind the closed doors of WWE headquarters, there is a full-blown war happening that could change the landscape of professional wrestling forever. We're talking about Becky Lynch, the man herself, threatening legal action against the company that made her a global superstar. WWE officials are reportedly livid, and the fallout has already claimed its first victim. Chelsea Green has been banned, and somehow, John Cena's name is being whispered in the same breath as this absolute disaster. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. I'm going to walk you through every single detail of this developing story, and trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this could be the biggest backstage controversy WWE has faced in years. Let me get straight to the point that has the entire wrestling world exploding right now. Becky Lynch, one of the most beloved and bankable stars in WWE history, has reportedly consulted with attorneys about potential legal action against WWE. And before you dismiss this as just another wrestling rumor, understand this. Multiple sources close to the situation have confirmed that legal documents are being prepared as we speak. Now, here's where this gets infuriating, and I want you to really hear me on this. According to insiders, the reason Becky is considering this nuclear option has nothing to do with creative differences or contract disputes in the traditional sense. No. This goes much deeper. We're talking about alleged breaches of contract agreements, misuse of her likeness in unauthorized merchandise, and get this, potential violations regarding her personal brand partnerships that WWE allegedly interfered with. But here's what's making my blood boil, and I guarantee it'll make yours boil too. While Becky Lynch, a woman who carried this company through some of its toughest periods, who main evented WrestleMania, who became a cultural icon beyond wrestling, is being stonewalled by WWE officials, these same officials are reportedly more concerned about protecting the company's image than addressing her legitimate grievances. And you want to know the worst part? Chelsea Green, yes, Chelsea Green, has been indefinitely banned from certain WWE events and tapings because she had the audacity to publicly support Becky on social media. That's right, folks. In 2025, WWE is allegedly punishing wrestlers for standing in solidarity with their colleagues. Does that sound like the new era of WWE we were promised? Does that sound like a company that values its performers? Drop a comment right now and tell me, is WWE crossing a line, or is there more to this story than we're being told? Breaking down Becky's legal position. Let's dive deep into what Becky's legal team is allegedly preparing, because this isn't just some empty threat. This is serious business that could set precedents for how WWE treats its performers for decades to come. According to sources familiar with the situation, Becky's legal complaints center around three major areas. First, there's the merchandise issue. Now, we all know WWE makes a fortune off superstar merchandise. We're talking millions upon millions of dollars. But here's the kicker. Becky's team alleges that WWE has been producing and selling unauthorized merchandise featuring her likeness, catchphrases, and signature looks without proper compensation or approval. We're not talking about standard WWE merch here, folks. We're talking about special edition items, international exclusives, and digital content that allegedly falls outside the scope of her existing contract. Think about that for a second. Becky Lynch put in the blood, sweat, and tears to create the man persona. She made it iconic. She made it profitable. And now, there are allegations that WWE is exploiting that creation beyond what was contractually agreed upon. That's not just a business dispute. That's a fundamental violation of trust. Second, and this is where it gets even more interesting, there are reports that WWE allegedly interfered with Becky's outside brand partnerships. Now, we know WWE has strict policies about talent taking on outside sponsorships and business ventures, but according to the whispers coming out of Stamford, Becky had secured several lucrative deals with major brands. We're talking about companies in fashion, fitness, and entertainment. And WWE allegedly pressured these companies to either cancel their agreements or renegotiate terms that would give WWE a cut of the profits. Can you imagine putting in the work to build your personal brand, securing deals on your own merit, and then having your employer swoop in and essentially hijack those opportunities? That's what we're potentially dealing with here. And that raises serious questions about how much control WWE actually has or should have over its performers' lives outside the ring. The third major issue, and perhaps the most explosive, involves alleged promises that were made to Becky regarding her creative direction and career trajectory that WWE allegedly failed to honor. While specific details remain under wraps for obvious legal reasons, sources suggest that Becky was given certain assurances about storylines, championship opportunities, and her role in major events that were subsequently changed or completely abandoned without proper explanation or compensation. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Wrestlers don't have guarantees about creative, that's just how the business works. And you're partially right. WWE contracts typically give the company enormous creative control. But here's the thing. If specific promises were made during contract negotiations, if those promises were documented in writing or email communications, if Becky made career decisions based on those promises, then we could be looking at a legitimate case of fraudulent inducement or breach of contract. The WWE response and officials' fury. So how has WWE responded to all of this? Well, publicly, there's been radio silence. Not a single statement, not a single acknowledgement. But behind the scenes, folks, it's reportedly absolute pandemonium. Multiple sources indicate that WWE officials are furious, and I mean furious, that this situation has escalated to the point of potential legal action. There's allegedly been a series of heated meetings at WWE headquarters, with executives scrambling to contain the situation before it becomes a full-blown PR nightmare. And you know what the most telling part is? Instead of immediately working to resolve Becky's concerns, the initial response was reportedly to identify who leaked information about the dispute to the wrestling media. That's right. Rather than addressing the actual problem, WWE's first instinct was damage control and finding someone to blame for the story getting out. Does that sound like a company that's confident in its position? Does that sound like a company that values open communication with its talent? But here's where the situation takes an even darker turn. According to insiders, WWE has allegedly issued warnings to multiple roster members, both on the main roster and in NXT, about discussing the Becky Lynch situation publicly or even privately in group chats that could be monitored. The message was clear: stay out of it, keep your mouth shut, or face consequences. And that brings us to Chelsea Green. Chelsea, who has become increasingly popular with fans thanks to her hilarious character work and genuine social media presence, allegedly made the mistake of tweeting support for Becky. The tweet has since been deleted, but not before screenshots circulated throughout the wrestling community. The tweet reportedly said something to the effect of, "Supporting my sisters in this business always. Women deserve respect and fair treatment, period." Seems pretty innocent, right? A general statement of support without even specifically mentioning WWE or the legal situation. Well, apparently, that was enough to land Chelsea in hot water. According to reports, Chelsea was pulled from scheduled appearances at house shows and live events and has been effectively banned from certain tapings until further notice. The official reason given internally? Scheduling conflicts. But everyone backstage knows what's really going on. This is where I need to pause and ask you, the Wrestle Scope family, is this acceptable? Is this how a publicly traded, multi-billion-dollar company should treat its performers in 2025? In an era where wrestler unionization is being discussed more openly than ever, where performers are more aware of their worth and their rights, is WWE shooting itself in the foot by taking this hardline approach? Drop a comment right now and tell me, is WWE crossing a line, or is there more to this story than we're being told? John Cena's involvement. Now, let's talk about the John Cena element of this story, because this is where things get really interesting, and frankly, a bit confusing. John Cena's name being attached to this controversy came as a shock to absolutely everyone, including, reportedly, John Cena himself. So what's the connection? Well, it's complicated, but I'll break it down for you. According to sources, part of Becky Lynch's legal complaint allegedly references precedents set by how WWE handled situations with other top stars, particularly regarding merchandise and outside business ventures. And guess whose name appears in those precedent-setting examples? That's right, John Cena. Now, before we go any further, let me be crystal clear. There is no indication that John Cena is involved in any dispute with WWE or that he's supporting legal action against the company. In fact, all evidence suggests the opposite. Cena remains on excellent terms with WWE and continues his role as a part-time performer and ambassador for the company. So why is his name being mentioned? Well, apparently Becky's legal team is pointing to the fact that John Cena was allowed to pursue outside ventures, maintain significant control over his merchandise and branding, and had contractual clauses that gave him leverage that many other performers, particularly women, have not been afforded. The argument being made is that WWE has applied a double standard, giving certain favored stars freedoms and opportunities that others are denied, despite their comparable value to the company. Think about it. John Cena has appeared in major Hollywood blockbusters, launched successful business ventures, maintained personal sponsorships worth millions, and had significant creative input throughout his career. Becky Lynch, who main evented WrestleMania and became one of the most recognized wrestlers on